Hi guys, you're welcome to the REST Studios. This is the concluding part of the tutorial consuming REST API using Retrofit in Android application. The CRUD implementation: create, read, update, and delete. In this session, we'll be going to Android Studio and I'll be explaining in details each functionality of the client side of this particular implementation. Whereby we'll be using Retrofit's library to make communication, HTTP communication, back and forth with the API to look seamlessly easy. Right here in Android Studio, we'll be looking at the build Gradle, the module app session, where we have the dependency compile com.squareup retrofit 1.9.0. This particular line is very important. You need to include this before you have retrofit in used. After doing that, you need to synchronize to Gradle up there, and you can set your application ready for retrofit calls. We'll be looking at the rest, the layout, the activity list XML, the activity main, the activity update, and the list item XML. Let's look at the activity main XML. There's a linear layout with a layout with an height match parent, rotation, vertical, padding, 16 dps with the context main activity. Whereby we have our edit text for the name, which is actually going to hold on to the name data. We have for the age, where we assign an ID to it called age. We also have for the mobile, the mail. And we have two buttons, which are all centralized. The first button is for the insert, while the second button is to read the data from the database. Let's look at the activity list, whereby we have the linear layout with the match parent of weight and height. The list view has an ID of retrieve, whereby it's going to retrieve all data from the database. Let's get to look at the activity update. This is just like the activity main XML, but with one change. The linear layout has the rotation vertical with the context calling from the main activity. The edit text still stand for the name, for the age, for the mobile, and for the mail. Now we have one button, and this button is centralized, which is actually going to trigger the update. So it's for updates with an ID called update. We have the list item XML. This is a linear layout with a background which is black. The rotation is horizontal, where the graphite is centered. There's a text view that holds the name. Another text view is for the age, the text view for the mobile, and the last text view is for the mail. This is actually going to display the call data in a list format. We'll be looking at the Java classes, where we have the package helper. This is a sub-package of the main package, which is com.deletion.studios.retrofit CRUD. In the helper, we have the app config, the list view adapter, which actually handles the list items. Out there, we have the display data, the main activity, and the updates data. I would like to look at the app config. This is the configuration of the retrofit calls. Whereby we imported the JSON elements, the callback from retrofit, the response, the HTTP field, the form URL encoded, the get and post. These are from the HTTP libraries of the retrofit. Our app config houses a lot of interfaces, which will be actually making calls to the endpoint URL. We have the first interface, which is the insert, whereby you have the post. This is actually going to post the data outwards, and we have the endpoint URL /retrofit CRUD insert data.php. This is how it's being built. In our main activity, we have the base URL. The base URL is http www.deletion.studios.com. Now we are going to include the /retrofit CRUD /insert data.php. That is how it sits on my server. It can take a different dimension based on your server configuration or where you actually keep your files in your server. Inside the insert data, we keep to the fields used in the database. I'll quickly show you something quickly. This is the personal detail table in the Retrofit CRUD database. If you notice, we have the fields ID, name, age, mobile, email still set. These are the fields we'll be talking about. These are what we'll be using. These are what JSON we actually encode them out as key value pairs, and they will be used as JSON objects in Java classes. Back to Android Studio. Now I set the field of name, age, mobile, and email address based that definitely they'll be converted to string, and we have a callback response to this. The same thing goes for the interface. Read. This is actually pointing to the display all PHP files right sitting on my server, which is www.deletionstudios.com, which is the base URL, and this is the endpoint URL, retrofit CRUD display all.php. The read data calls the JSON elements. The same thing goes for the delete. The delete is actually posting the IDs, down to the base, the endpoint URL, which is delete data.php. Now the only field needed is the ID, which is actually going to pass this to the delete data PHP class, PHP function, and the necessary implementation will be made by there. We have the update, which is actually posting. This is the endpoint URL, the retrofit CRUD update data.php. Now you need the complete fields, which is the ID, the name, the age, the mobile, the email, before you can make a correct update to this data. Let me quickly show you how the file sits in the server. This is the retrofit CRUD. A look at this should give us the list of our functions: the DB function, the delete data.php, display all.php, insert data, update data.php. Can you see that? These are all sitting on the server with a root to www.deletionstudios/retrofit CRUD/ the name of each PHP file. Let's quickly look at the main activity of this particular application. We imported some stuff here. For the Android, we imported the menu item, the menu button, edit text, toast. For JSON, we imported JSON exception objects. Even for Java, we imported the buffer reader, input and output exception, input stream reader, and we also called the app config class. We have for the retrofit, we have the callback, the REST adapter, the retrofit error, and also the client response. The main activity extends app compat activity, where we have the base URL, http www.deletionstudios.com. We created some fields there: edit name. These are all for edit text. We have the edit age for the mobile, for the mail, and also for button. We have for the button insert and for the button display. We'll be using them to store different data called. The onCreate method will have the super onCreate set instance state, where we set the content view to the layout activity mail. We need to initialize those fields created: name, the age, the mobile, the mail, insert, and display, to its appropriate ID call from the activity main XML. Now for the insert field, we set an on-click listener to this. In the calls whereby the button is being triggered, the insert data method will be run. The same thing goes for the display button. We set an on-click listener to this, but this time an intent will be created whereby you create an object from it called I, and this is going to be pushed down to the display data class. You're going to start an activity and pass the I, which is the object created, so that the intent will be called. For the insert data, we have the REST adapter. We instantiate this and create an adapter from it. We set the endpoint and also the base URL. You build this up. We have for the app config class, we initialize it, get the APIs from that. But we need to insert data from what we have here. The insert data over here, we need to insert data to this field. But we have the edit name. We get the text to convert to string. The same thing goes for the age, the mobile, the mail. We also call the callback response. On success of this, there's a try method. You try and catch. About the buffer reader, it will be instantiated, and we'll pass the string, and also we'll read the next line of each value pairs. Baba we call on the JSON object, creates an object from it called JOBJ. Baba we get the integer if success. If success is 1, there's going to be a toast successfully inserted. If not, insertion field. It's going to catch an exception since we use a try here, and the section is what the input and output exception. So this is going to actually show to the log or to the console or to the UI gracefully, and also we catch the JSON exceptions too. On failure, Retrofit is actually going to handle this toast and toast it up so that the activity won't crash. We have the on-create option menu. This is just created by default and an option item selected. These are the menu right at the top bar of the toolbar of this particular UI. We'll be looking at the display data, which is the second activity called. Now, what's the display data going to do? This extends app compat activity. We imported some stuff also for the Java IO, the buffer reader, the retrofit rest adapter, retrofit error, retrofit callback, JSON array, JSON exception, and object, and so on. We also need to call the base URL. Now we're going to be using array list and person string as the generic data type. But we have the ID, the name, the age, the mobile, and the email. We've all instantiated them with the new array list. The onCreate method will set the super onCreate, set its content view to the activity layout activity list. Now we have a detailed list right here where we created the list view, the object detail list. This is actually going to call on the retrieve ID. We have it the list item, and we're going to cast it onto the list view. We have that. The same thing goes for the display adapter, which we created for the list view adapter class. We have the new instantiated with the new keyword, and we get the application context based on the ID, name, age, mobile, and email. After that, the display data will be called. This method will be called. After this would have been set appropriately. The details list itself, which is each list of the list view, you set on item click listener to this. As on item click on first click, just a click on the list, there is going to be an intent call to the update Java class, whereby you're going to put extras that you're going to put the values, you're going to pass some values to this class, which is going to actually be the values input on the ID, the name, the age, the mobile, and the email. So you're going to pass that values. You're going to start the activity to call the update data class. We have the set on item long click listener. We have two different types of click listening. The first is just a touch listening, and the second is when you click and you hold on to it for a few seconds. Something different is going to be called, which is actually going to call the delete method, whereby it's going to pass the ID and get its position and return true. The display data that was called in here after the display adapter has been instantiated, this is actually going to have the REST adapter instantiate it just the way you've done for the retrieve. Now you're going to have the endpoint base URL and build it up. We create the API from the app config class. In this API, we're going to read the data, but we have the callback, which is the JSON element. The read data, let's quickly look at it. The read data, look at it. There is the read data is a callback JSON element. So that's still right on course. We have a try and catch method whereby we create an object from the JSON object, JOBJ. On success of this, if we get the integer on success, if it's 1, there is going to be a for loop whereby we have the counter if I is equal to 0, and if I is less than the JSON array length, and there will be an iteration. Definitely, we want to create a list here for each call. For each call, something will be run, which is this. The ID, the name, the age, the mobile, the email will be added, and definitely you get them to string. We converted them to string earlier. You create an object called JO, whereby you get them to string the ID, the name, the age, the mobile, the email. The detail list, you're going to set the data to it, whereby you pass the display data as its parameter. Else, if this is not successful, there's going to be a toast that no details found, and for the try method, it's going to catch the JSON exception. Yes, that's the JSON exception, and it's going to log this to the console, or it's going to show you this the UI gracefully. On failure, also this necessary catch error will be handled. For the delete that was called up here, inside the on item long click listener. What's this delete gonna do? You have the rest adapter just the way it's been instantiated for others. The same thing goes for the app config. You create an API for me. Now you call it delete data, which is this. What is the delete? The delete data over here, which needs the field ID. Let's get to still look at it better. It needs the field ID. You see there. Now you have a try and catch. This is actually going to read the buffer. You create an object from the buffer reader called reader, or you can create the string resp and you read each new line. The same thing goes for the JSON object. You create an object from it and create the get integer if success. So if success is going to be successfully deleted because you're passing the ID to the delete data.php. There's a callback gotten from it. That's just what is happening. And the callback is successfully deleted. It's going to post this up, else deletion field, and the try there's an exception. It's either going to be an input and output exception or a JSON exception. That's clear. Let's get to look at the update data. The update data also imported different stuff: the button, the edit text, the tools, even the JSON array, the JSON exception, the Java input and output buffer reader, the input and output exception, the input stream reader, and even the retrofit callback, the rest adapter, the retrofit error, and this response. Now we still maintain the base URL. We created the same views just the way we did for the display data. Now we have for the string ID, name, age, mobile, and email. And this is a separate string. Our onCreate method sets the state. onCreate saves the state. We set the content view to the layout activity update. And the same thing goes for the edit name, age, mobile, mail, and update button this time. We initialize the fields to its appropriate IDs. We get the intent whereby we actually put some extras to the update data. Now these same extras will be you get the string extra from each. When you put, you have to get the corresponding get. You get in the extras and you pass them into the string created name, age, mobile. And you get that in the edit name, you're going to cast this. You're going to set the text based on the value passed from the string extras. You're going to set the edit age, to the mobile, and the email, because these are all what text, edit text field. I think that is very, very understandable. The button update you're going to set on click listener to this. On one of these, the update data is going to be triggered, and the ID is going to be passed as these parameters. Now, the update data, what's it going to do? The same thing goes for the rest adapter instantiated. The same thing goes for the app config, creating the API from it. Now, this API is going to call the update data over here, which is this, the update data, where you need the ID, the name, the age. We've gotten the name, age already, but you need to pass the ID, which we've done. The edit name, you get the text, convert to string. The age, the same thing goes, the mobile and the mail, which you've done here by getting the appropriate name, age, mobile, email, so that you can be able to edit those data gotten. You have the callback response also on success. The same thing is going to happen. Is going to call the buffer reader. Going to read new line, each line of it. The JSON object will be instantiated, called the JOBJ object, get the integer if success. So if success is going to actually be log to cart successfully updated, and the intent is going to start an activity or new intent whereby it's going to display the data. So if it gets updated, an intent will be called immediately to actually display the new updated data. That's just what this is doing. Else, if there's an error, it's going to say updates failed, and then we have the exception to catch the input and output exception, and also the JSON exception. That's clear. Let's get to look at manifest, at the Android manifest, whereby we have the Android permission internet. Very important, because you're going to be doing input and output call to the server, so you need an internet to actually make that possible. We log our launcher activity, which is the main activity, and we have to register two activities: the display data class and the update data class. These are all needed because intent actually make a call to each one of them. So after you might have done that, you have to log them into the manifest, and you set your application ready for testing. I'll be uploading the source file to my GitHub account, and I'll be uploading the PHP files also to my Dropbox account, whereby I'll provide the URL to different parts, so that it's going to be easy for you guys to actually download these source files and get them ready. Use them in the course of your application, study them well. A full grip of this particular tutorial is giving you a head point, or is going to actually set you up on how to actually consume APIs, use different form of APIs, set your client ready using Retrofit. I'll be showing this also in an Android emulator, so stay tuned. Here we go with the application, the Retrofit CRUD. I'll quickly show you something. If you notice, we have no data on the server, so we need to input some data in the form, the named age, mobile number, email, and we get to insert, read, update, and delete the same data. Let's get to have our name. Android Studios, age 29, mobile number the email address, we have that set. Now I'll click on my insert data to insert this file. You click on insert data. You have to exercise little patience because this is an emulator, so it may look slightly slow, but it's going to actually do everything you need it to do. Successfully inserted. That means that we successfully inserted. Let's quickly look at our server to check the data inserted. Need to load to refresh your data, your server. If you notice, the data has been inserted. The Android Studios, age, mobile number, email address as ID 1 inserted successfully. Let's get to look. So let's get to read the data, the same data inserted. We click on our read button to have us read those data. It's actually going to call the read all PHP to actually call those data from the database and populate it as a list. If you notice, they're now on the list. The Android Studios, age, the phone number, and the email address. You can make this even look more better by styling it better, but this just for analysis purpose. Now a click on this will update, and a long click will delete this particular data. So I'll need to update first. Let's just click on it to make an update. Can you notice it calls on the update, whereby it still gets the extra, which is the data, back to the edit text field, so that you'll be able to edit this particular text. Now I'll just try to take off the name, just change it to something else so that we'll be able to see the edits actually done. All right, let's give it another name. Called Bamidele. Right, I'll click on the update button to make the updates. So after it's going to update successfully, it's still going to trigger the display. You guys see successfully updated. You know, that means the data has been updated at the server, and we'll get to check this out at the server. Let's browse this up to actually see the latest updates. It's because I'm using an emulator, that's why you have some little glitches here and there. Try it on a real device, you see how everything's going to work very smoothly, and you get to actually achieve it faster and easily. If you notice, it has been updated. Can you see the name called Bamidele? That's actually been changed from the Android Studios to Bamidele. And even in our Android application, it should actually change to Bamdele. It's just because the network call to the database is so slow, so it actually still pick the same data from the data, because once it updates, it should pick it should read, it should like rerun the display all PHP. But it's so slow because I'm using an emulator. But if you try this on a real device, you see that this name will actually be changed immediately on the fly, because it's going to be faster and the calls will work faster. That's why I actually made it so. If you still refresh it, it's going to actually have the new name, which is Bamdele. But you can see it on the server that it has been changed. So on a long click on this, it's going to delete the data. The long click, successfully deleted. So the data has been deleted successfully, and it has actually been with no details found. Can you notice? That means nothing is found on the database. So if I should refresh my database now, you notice that there will be no data, and that will have nothing to actually see on the server. Can you notice? Personal details 0. Nothing is on the server at the point in time. So this is actually working very smoothly, and it's cool. You can actually use these in the course of the application. Get acclimatized with Retrofit CRUD. The create, read, update, and delete. It's actually working smooth, and it's okay. I've tested it out in real devices, and it's actually working perfectly. I'll upload my source files as I've said, and I really want you to stick with my channel. There's a lot of bumper package right there for you guys. It's for your delight, it's for your learning, it's for you to improve money in Android development. Thank you very much for hanging out with me throughout the session, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye.